Hi everyone, welcome to another time with me, Dr. Sarah. I'm your IO psychologist, coach, friend, etc. Okay, so here on this Lovers and Leaders episode, I want to talk about some of those colleagues of ours, or some of them could be your boss, that you see they are showing symptoms of job insecurity. Okay, insecurity. All right. Think about, have you ever heard some of your colleagues or maybe your friends say, listen, I'm not trying to help out so and so in their job or anything or share information because dot dot dot. So that particular person is all about job security. They don't want to share information, right? So in other words, the other side of that is that they're insecure, job insecurity. All right. And I am just not pro that. Like many of you out there in YouTube land and beyond, all right, you are abundant thinkers, all right. You are change agents, you're transformational people, you're idea people, and we all know, all right, those who practice this, the really good ideas or just ideas in general that you can change to values, that can change to assets is very profitable, all right. I have definitely, unfortunately, experienced and vicariously experienced for other people, like their own experiences, having colleagues that they're like, yeah, I'm going to keep this knowledge to myself. Like some of you have experienced whereby you've started a job and maybe over a certain period of time, you may want to expand into other areas. You've prepared for that. You may have got a degree or a certification, or you're just naturally talented, but it's not your current role. Then you may go and like tap the shoulders of, I don't know, a colleague that is in a higher ranking, or maybe your boss, and you're wanting to do something similar or in that land, in that sphere, right? And you could just tell, human to human, spirit to spirit, they just don't want to give you a go. All right. They just don't want to give you a go. And I remember getting somebody say to me, well, you don't even have any experience. And I'm looking at this person, I'm like, where did you get your experience from? Because I've watched you. Where did you get your experience? Somebody gave you that opportunity. And for me, and I'm going to say to you, once you clock, especially if it's somebody like a boss that you can tell for whatever reason, insecurity, they don't want to open that door of opportunity for you, baby, I would encourage you to start preparing yourself to pivot. All right. Because for me, in this day and time and season, all right, and those of you who are entrepreneurs out there, you cannot afford the risk of having anyone in leadership or even a colleague that has a scarcity mindset. They don't want to see you grow. Haven't you figured out, leaders out there, that when your people grow, your business grows? It's crazy to me how many people in the workplace are so stunted, right? And then you get like CEOs, for example, giving certain, announcements at town halls, wanting figures to go up, right? And not really doing a deep dive that there is certain human assets there coming to work Monday to Friday that can actually give you more and provide you more value, but nobody is really watching them, all right, for growth. Because you know what it is the bottom line. They're thinking, okay, if we promote this person, if we give them extra job, they're going to ask for extra money. All right, sure. Yeah. But that's with the understanding that when they do more, you've figured it out that it's going to add to your bottom line. It's going to add to your return on investment one way or another. All right? You may not see the cash flow immediately, all right? But let's think about, assets that grow over time. All right? I'm telling you, like some organizations put these, I would say, very emotionally intelligent, um, immature. Yeah, they're very emotionally unintelligent. I mean, emotionally unintelligent, immature people in quote unquote leadership, but they don't really have the abundance, big thinker, transformational mindset that typically good CEOs and owners of companies actually had or have to move their organization forward. You've got some leaders um, that literally are good and skilled to do some projects, all right? You know, hey, you've got to have X amount of new customers, all right? You've got to, save dollars on our vendors, right? They're good at like managing certain capital projects or things like that, or like I said, building new customers. These are like projects, okay? Yes, it's part of their job, but they're project orientated and they can work with different people. But to be the leader, all right, to really expect your people to grow and want your people to grow, they just don't have it. So there lies the problem where you have employees, ripping and running, bored, imploding on the inside or exploding and then leaving because they're bored. I've seen certain things on social media, like the other day, right? There was a woman that said when she was in an interview and they're asking her why is her resume so like sporadic, like jumping from one job to another. She said, well, simply, I was just bored, okay, in my jobs and I needed to grow. There are people who are like, especially people like me, that are just so creative on the inside, constantly having ideas, ready to make the next pivot on the idea. And then you get somebody saying, yeah, uh, or like kind of like act as if this could be something. And then you finally realize, oh yeah, they're not trying to help you open that door. All right. They're not trying to help you open that door. And then on the other side too, you may have experienced a situation whereby like you're fairly new into a role and you have like a veteran there, like someone's been there for a long time, and they ask the person that's been there a long time to like train you up or at least just give you some information about how to do something or how they've done it. I mean, like, they're like, no, in their own way, no, right? Now, I've come across those situations, but one thing I've learned is just don't take it personally at all. In these scenarios, what I've told you about a leader or a colleague, never take it personally. Just understand God is just showing you the state of their heart, the state of their mind. They are poverty mindset person, okay? A poverty mindset. They just have a poverty mindset, okay? And they just very scarce, all right? So imagine you've been in the workplace with a whole bunch of scarcity, poverty minded people, all right? And a leader that, is always trying to be realistic and doesn't like dream a little bit or have like transformational ideas or doesn't really want to try nothing new and doesn't really want anybody to really gain new skills that can pivot them to another area. For me, I can't stay in that environment for long, okay? Because when you are in an environment of poverty minded people, guess what's going to happen over time? You will just soak that in. You will soak that in. You'll come in, into a role or into a new job, really happy go lucky, you're in that honeymoon phase for like six months to a year usually, right? So enthusiastic. And then you come up with that energy, that spirit of like, yeah, this is just how we do it. And this is all you're going to do, right? And we know those who are, on the path of being really great leaders and great lovers, people evolve over time. And if you've been in the job, I would say at this point, if you've been in a job for like 2 to 3 years, coming to 5, that 3 to 5 year mark, and you're still doing the same thing, I'm going to really question not only you to be evaluating yourself, but also your leader. Like, aren't they checking in to see, what else you can bring to the table? And to be fair, there are some really great leaders out there that really do care about the person and they want their people to grow. They're pro going to take certification classes. They are congratulate you all the way down the aisle when you're getting a degree, right? They love it because they are also in their mind thinking to themselves, all right, how is what they have gonna be beneficial to this workplace? I don't care. Listen, if I had my own business right now, which I do, and I'm seeing like people getting certain degrees or going for something, but I'm checking in with them too. Yeah, I'm gonna be thinking as an entrepreneur, right? Like, how could this, be introduced into the pipeline of my work? All right. How can this could be introduced to my customer value chain, my supply chain of my business, right? Everything works together. And I'm a very resourceful person by nature, resourceful leader. So I'm very quick to like leverage here and here and here, right? And I'm never going to like stop anyone from growing, because this is how I see it. This is how I see it. If I'm thinking right now, um, in the position I hold right now, I'm very much about what I'm doing right now as the manager. Also, allowing my direct reports to learn what I do, because I'm always thinking about sustainability of knowledge, right? And if I'm on vacation or whatever, somebody should still continue the business, right? So for me as a leader, there is no way in God's green kingdom that I'm ever going to have this job insecurity. Because for me, if I'm afraid for my direct reports or my team members, all right, to know what I know, and it's obvious that they can learn that and apply the knowledge, if I'm afraid of that, like, it means that I have literally stunted my growth if I don't want them to grow. Because for me, as they grow, it's an indication to me. It's like God is telling me, Sarah, as a leader, it doesn't mean they're not leaders either, by the way, but as a leader, you need to put more work in and grow. All right? If I see my people growing, like especially a situation where you have a supervisor, right? And you're trying to probably break into certain similar area where they are, not exactly the same, but similar, right? And they just kind of like wanted to put a lid on that, your growth, because they just insecure, right? Me as a leader, and they should have been thinking, if they're transformational type leadership, abundant mindset leadership, right? People that actually make a lot of money leadership, right? They should be clocking in, but like, well, if Sarah's trying to come and pivot in my area, that's great. Then she could be able to take over what I'm doing right now. And that means me, leader, I should go on to the next things that I've been thinking about. And that's the thing. I just clocked it as I'm sitting here. Because some leaders are not thinking, and some of your colleagues are not thinking about their next step. All they're thinking about is exactly what they're doing right now. What they're doing right now is just it for them. And they don't want anyone to come in, because you know why? They're not visionaries. They're not visionary people like you and me. So when you're coming too close to their area, okay, coming too close to their area of influence, they get so nervous and so insecure because they know you could do it. But the thing is, they don't have a plan B. They can't see beyond where they are. So those of you out there in YouTube land and the globe, and you've just wondered, why is this person trying to block my growth? Doesn't want me to grow in this skill, trying to block my blessing. You're not crazy. They just don't have a plan B. But see, you, the visionary out there, the leader out there, the real one, you have a plan A, B, C, and D. Yeah. Okay? But with God, nothing, okay, can stop you. You cannot be stopped. And there are times when God will allow you to sit in that and have the courage and the boldness to say, you know what? Maybe my time has come to pivot. And as a business person, businessman, businesswoman, a transformational leader, a thought leader out there, an emerging leader, you have to know, as you as an asset, you need to know where you need to pivot. You need to know what market is going to value you and you are going to bring value to. You need to know and have a clear understanding with some good research and counsel, right? What industry that you're more suitable for. And be very clear with yourself before you pivot who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, all right, there are going to be forces in that workplace that will try to pigeonhole you into a particular spot. All right. And that's the thing about empowerment and having more knowledge and having the wisdom to apply that knowledge. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you. And by the way, when you are trying to make new moves, please don't share it all over the place in your workplace unless you have a trusted mentor or a coach, right? By the way, I have a link in the description box. Those of you who are seeking guidance in finding some solutions to certain problems in the workplace, you need some counsel, you need a neutral person to bounce ideas of, whether it's for business, personal consulting, or something you're trying to figure out what to do with your skills, whether it's pivoting to get a new job. I have slots open for you to sign up for consultation one-on-one. And, we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out because there are some people out there that can help you, but not everyone is so invested in you to grow. And that's why I love what I do as an industrial organizational psychologist, as a coach, mentor, and just a good person, all right? And I can say that with all confidence in Jesus' name, all right? I want you to grow. God wants his children to grow. You are not on this earth by accident. You are meant to produce wherever you go. You are meant to bring value wherever you go, and your compensation will follow suit. But it's that value, it's packaging that value that people get really stuck on. And that value, is resonating in you, but sometimes you doubt it because your immediate workplace environment, for example, is just not validating it, and it's not allowing the practice ground for you to grow. So yeah, you're not wrong to feel like you're not growing in that job, you're not growing in that workplace environment. Your boss is just trying to stunt your growth. You're not wrong. This video is to let you know you're not wrong, but there is a solution, there is a way out. Please check my description box for the link there and sign up, because you will win in this season and you will shine exactly how you've imagined that you will shine. You will shine. You will. All right. But I know that God always wants his children to grow, and there's the reason why there's people like me out there who are counselors that are invested in you, because my business is your business to grow. All right. So give me a like, all right, if this really resonated with you. And please don't forget to subscribe and share this video with whoever you think will really benefit from this, all right? And drop me a comment what you're thinking as you're watching this, and what is your next step, all right? Because we're not going to work with anyone that have job insecurity issues, all right? Until next time, stay blessed. Bye.